Hello and welcome to the Skeletalk podcast episode 6, maybe, with Skele.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, with Skeletal K and Jordan.
Hello. Oh, brilliant. I do, I love it.
So, we've been away for a while, haven't we?
We have.
Oh shit. Sorry, I'm swearing already. Yeah, we've been away for a while. Katie had some other bits that she wanted to focus on. But
YouTube and streaming and things. But we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube.
Hey, that's brilliant.
Hey, yo.
The samples really help.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't think it's going to come up on the audio.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
mine will.
I can add clapping. Oh, yours will, yeah. I'll just add the clapping in.
On YouTube anyway, will.
Yeah. So we have come back for one episode to see, I guess, to see whether we can remember what we were doing, right?
I mean, I couldn't remember what I was doing when we were doing it on time anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. So we thought we'd come back with a few creepy stories from Reddit.
Yeah.
So I've chosen 4. How many have you chosen?
I've got 5, maybe 6-ish.
Okay. Did you really have to think that much?
Well, I had to count the tabs.
Fantastic. Yeah. So should we jump straight into it, or do you have anything you want to talk about beforehand?
Not really.
News?
No.
Any big things?
Other than the 500, I think I'm almost at 300 on Twitch.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna check that.
Just gonna look it up.
It's
in the meantime,
yeah. I'm at 285 on Twitch.
285. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's good going.
Because I think I'm on my 4th month of affiliate now. Maybe.
Look
Something
at you
like that.
fucking showing off your muscles.
I don't have any, Chief.
You're just sitting here like this, flexing your arms.
Just fucking trying to stretch. I am exhausted after work yesterday.
Oh, one day. So, do you want to start with one of your stories, or should I start with one of mine?
I can start. So
yeah. So we'll say where you found it, who it was by, and the title, and then we'll read it.
Okie dokie. Let's start with the Let's Not Meet one. This one looks good. So yeah, this is on Let's Not Meet. It's by Florinizer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Florinizer. So, I was about 7 years old. My brother was 10. It was I probably should read the title first.
Yeah. So just to sort of explain what the what the
So
story is first.
it's just called My Brother Saw a Ghost as a Kid. 2 decades later, I realised what he actually saw.
Oh, okay.
That's all the title is. I was about 7 years old. My brother about 10. It was well past our bedtime when our mum woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was often just 3 of us at the house for weeks at a time. Up the stairs to the immediate right was our parents' bedroom. Going left in the middle put you in the middle of the hallway. Taking another left down the hallway led to my brother's room. The opposite end of the room, which was also across the hall from upstairs, our bathroom. At either end of the hallway are windowed doors we kept locked and rarely used. The door in the end led to a balcony overlooking our front yard, and the door on my brother's end opened to our back porch. The house kinda leans on a small hill. My brother and mum both had a habit of waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I only knew because I was always a light sleeper and they couldn't help but flushing with the door wide open. Excellent. Excellent. Why do people do that? When I lived on my own, I could pee with the door open, but not even with my family. That's so weird.
Even I lived on my own, I had to close the door to do anything.
What? Are you scared that a ghost might watch you pee or something?
It was the other. It was scared a ghost might watch me poo.
Okay. Okay. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to the room and came back towards the bathroom. I'm going to try and pee before I go to bed. The past few nights I've been too afraid to walk to the bathroom. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway. I don't know if my mum wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try and scare me, or if she was already half asleep and didn't catch it. But she didn't react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was terrified by it. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the window is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. Years later, when I was about 18, my mum and I were having a conversation in her car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency towards destroying my shoes and other unruly behaviours when my mum blurted out, "Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran into the kitchen and started tearing up that big bag of dog food we had?" This one really caught me off surprise because in all those years I lived in that house, we never once called the cops. Gun owner, family in a quiet rural WV neighbourhood? I don't know what that is.
I'm thinking something American.
I asked her what she was talking about, and she looked equally surprised, as if she had just revealed something by accident. "Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time. One night, I woke up hearing noises outside my window, and when I looked out, I saw a man staring into my bedroom." She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running, and how she grabbed my dad's pistol before calling the cops. I can't remember all the details I gave them when they showed up. Tall, white male, wearing striped shirt and jeans, short dark hair, something like that. They said it matched the description of the man they were looking for in the area. It turns out he had escaped from jail on a murder charge.
Oh, God.
Now, I know it sounds so obvious hearing those two stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago in my mid-20s I pieced together that my brother had unknowingly warned us about a murderer who spent multiple nights casing our house. He was inside the house.
God, that is terrifying.
Because one of the kids saw him inside the house, but the mum saw it outside.
Yeah, so the kid thought he was
my God.
ghostly googly, but he was actually
Ooh.
an escaped prisoner,
Oh my
murder
God.
suspect. Oh God, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Imagine if he'd been like living in the house without them knowing. See, that kind of.
I love.
scares me.
We should definitely do
Like,
an
you-
episode on those stories. You know, that girl that was in the ceiling of that dude's house and he recorded it.
Yeah.
I can't remember because I think he noticed that things were going missing from his fridge, and that was the only reason that he put up a camera, and then sees her fucking climbing out of his walls at night, seeing
Yeah.
shit from his fridge. Gee, like I would full on have a mental breakdown at the concept of someone living. We are so lucky being British that our houses are just not built like that. Like our
Yeah,
houses are so like shit and small. We don't have like I'm not sure what the crawl
and stuff.
spaces. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have room for them because houses are so close together.
Yeah,
But-
exactly. I think I prefer that. Like the gaps in between walls here are just big enough for insulation and not big enough
Yeah,
for a fucking
exactly.
man. Oh, that is terrifying. That's creeped me out. What a wonderful
Yeah.
start to that one.
That was a great start, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've got one here from r/ghost stories,
Okay.
right? And it's by a user whose account has now been deleted. So make of that what you will.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's scary.
But it is titled "Bought my first house and found out it was haunted." I bought my first house in 2003 and was over the moon. Shortly after moving in, two of my neighbours began joking with me about the ghost in my house. Well, I thought they were joking, so I just played along pretending I'd seen one and it was no big deal. Well, as the time went on to that summer, I met more and more of my neighbours and they all brought up the same topic. Finally, an elderly woman on the block who was quite kind, friendly, told me a story after I'd asked her. I knew she wasn't going to screw with my head, which is why I asked in the first place. Turned out the previous owner purchased the home and never lived there because she said it was haunted. Sounds in the night of footsteps and sobbing, and glimpses of a man sitting in the kitchen covered in blood. One of my neighbours helped me with the renovations of the house and said that he was putting up drywall when he felt something lift up his dreadlocks.
Oh.
I thought that was, for some reason I thought that was gonna say deadlocks. So you know what this renovator looks like. He's got dreads.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Though
stylish.
I've had paranormal experiences before, it had been years. But by then, I just chalked it up to night terrors. One day I went to a small neighborhood video store and rent a movie. I had to fill out a form with my demographic data and then my credit card info. The owner of the store looked at the form and said, "Oh my god, you live in that house?"
Oh.
I asked her what she meant, and she explained that her former employee had committed suicide in that house.
Ah.
She came to the house as soon as she'd heard, but the house had been taped off by the police as a potential crime scene. She told me that he had just moved into the house and his partner, with his partner, and called his mum because he wanted to invite her over to meet his partner and come out to her. This was the early 90s when being gay was a big deal. His mother already knew he was gay because he bought the house of a man and disowned him right over the phone.
Oh.
The same week, he received a letter from a HIV testing centre stating he had tested positive for HIV. This is when HIV was a death sentence. He then sat on the kitchen table, ate a bowl of cereal and shot himself in the head with a revolver.
Oh shit.
Since then, she has had multiple paranormal experiences in the store, with videos flying off the shelves and even levitating off shelves. The most I have experienced is sounds at night, sounds of Cheerios being poured into a bowl, brackets, I don't eat cereal, close brackets. The sounds of sobbing in the kitchen, I often awake to both. I remember my grandmother saying, "When the dead come to you, they want something. Perform an act of charity in their name and pray for them." So I did. I sat down at the kitchen table one night and lit a candle and told him that each night I would recite a novena prayer for him before I lit a candle. On the 9th night of the first novena to St. Anthony, brackets, patron saint of lost souls, close brackets, I heard uncontrollable sobbing. I felt a strong presence of grief and despair and the sound of hyperventilating breathing, as though someone could not catch their breath. I sat in the presence of this knowing it was not, what's the word? They put malignant. They put malignant.
I wouldn't be able to spell that either, to be fair.
Yeah. But rather a connection of intimacy and compassion of which he was in need. For 45 days I said a novena prayer before I lit a candle for his soul, and had a mass said in his name. A few times I awoke him to feel his presence standing over my bed, but I knew it was not they've done malignant presence. This still happens from time to time, but less and less frequently. So yeah, so he bought a house of someone that had committed suicide.
God.
Oh. Would you live in a house that someone had died in?
It wouldn't really
you
bother
probably
me.
do.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm sure that someone's died in this house, to be fair. My house is so old. It doesn't really bother me. I've never had any weird encounters in this house. But, if it makes the house cheaper, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We're living in a housing crisis. I don't give a shit. If it comes with ghosts, that sounds even better, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
free entertainment.
I don't think the one I live in does, because it can't have been built any.
Yours is quite new. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't have been any earlier than the late 60s, early 70s in this area.
Yeah.
So that's
I
good.
just want to say that the hearing.
Not pointing.
I do this all the time on the podcast, but like him hearing cereal at night. I know that sounds silly, but that really creeped me out. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's such a specific noise to hear, because you will know because of the spoon and like the moving around of it. That's creepy to me. I don't know.
Did I tell you about the time I thought I heard the patio doors open in this house, like in the middle of the night?
No.
Like
This place.
Where I am currently, yeah.
Oh no.
I was struggling to sleep. My fiance was asleep next to me, and so like my brain in my head was going.
Brian in your head.
was going haywire. I was like focusing on every little sound I could hear. It's like, oh god, what's that?
Yeah.
And then somehow I think my brain manifested the sound of the patio door opening. It goes like that, and I just went shit and got up, like bolt upright, and ran downstairs. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just running straight towards where the thing is.
I've had stuff like that happen, like mid dream when you think like someone's coming or something. I can't think of the top of my head, but I've had it happen a lot where your brain kind of fills in, like almost hallucinates these noises that never happen. Because I think I said it before that I've had it a lot with talking, but I've also had it with like doors opening and stuff. It's really weird.
You had the ones where you hear your name as well. You feel like you hear someone say, I get that a few times. Like just when I'm falling asleep, I feel like I hear somebody shout my name.
I know, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, don't like that. Have you got another fancy story?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move things over a bit so I can see a little better. A little bit technical difficulties.
So I think the hamster's awake.
The hamster's awake? And I decided to open my window since it was extremely hot inside. I stand up at the edge of the window from outside. Suddenly I feel a hand pushing me back. I got pushed from my window by someone. Thing is, there was only me and my daughter in the house. I got pushed out of my own house by a stranger and my daughter was still inside. Since the window was closed, I couldn't open the door either, because I didn't have any keys. I knew that my neighbour was a locksmith, so I rushed to his house. I woke him up at 6 AM and I explained the situation to him. He took his stuff, he came to my house. Now I'll tell you what my daughter told me. She told me she could hear an old man coughing and she didn't recognise the cough. So she instantly went to the bathroom, locked the door of the bathroom. The door of her bedroom didn't have a lock, only the bathroom did. And she turned the tap on while she was calling the police. That's clever 13-year-old. My god. My neighbour managed to open the door. We rushed upstairs. While going upstairs, I saw that a knife was missing from my knife set in the kitchen. We went upstairs. We saw the door of my daughter. The door of my daughter was opened. We turned on the lights and saw an old man with a hood holding one of the knives waiting in front of the bathroom door. My neighbour and I beat the living shit out of him and waited till the police came. The man, okay. the man got arrested that week. We moved to another county. Okay. I don't know how real that one is, but holy shit.
That one was supposedly another breaking and entry.
Yeah, okay. God.
Yeah, we'll figure out, well, I don't know if we'll figure out, but we'll take it with a pinch of salt that they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But out of an old man.
I don't know how real that one is.
Think about it. They saw an old man, so they beat the shit out of him.
I don't know if it was... Yeah, I mean, there was no update on that one, so I don't know.
Them. Not beating them up.
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah, very smart 13-year-old.
Yeah, that is.
Do a phone call with the tap on.
That is clever. I would have never thought of that. I mean, I would lock myself away, but I wouldn't use the tap.
I wish you would lock yourself away.
Yeah, I think I need it. Yeah. I definitely need it.
I've got another one here from our true scary stories.
Mm-hmm.
So This one's by comprehensive-art 897,
Okay.
and this is True English Clown Story.
Ah!
So, whenever someone puts "true" into the title of something,
You immediately
I don't know
believe
about
it.
you. You go, yeah. I always go, well, it must be. But yeah, so I don't know. You must remember like the sort of spout in England and I think in America as well, sort of around 2018, people dressing up as clowns and then running out of people in the
I certainly
out
do.
of like fields. Yeah.
There was
Did you have
nothing
any?
around here. No, nothing
No.
around here. I don't think.
Nothing
We
around
were
my end as
fine.
well. That was when I was living at home as well, so I was just around the corner from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had nothing either. But that was a terrifying time for
It
me
was
'cause I
a
don't like clowns.
very bizarre year.
Yeah.
I don't really. I'm so neutral on clowns. Like I don't think they're scary, and I don't think they're like fun or exciting. They're just. I don't really have an opinion on them.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
just
think
they're
they're fun
just
or
art.
exciting.
Yeah. I just think
But they're
they're whatever.
So, this is a stew. This is a stew.
Stew. God, I love a good stew.
This is a true story about what happened to me. I live in a small village near Tunbridge Wells in Kent, England. Hey,
Hey,
that's Kent,
Ken!
England.
All my family from Kent.
Yay! On one side of our village is a vast forest that has parts that are very thick with trees and some parts that are large clearings. I usually walk there at the weekends, as it is a relaxing and calming place for me. But that has changed the last weekend. It was a Sunday afternoon and I was doing my usual route through the woods when I came upon lots of pieces of paper, all scattered in a specific area.
Oh.
There wasn't a breeze, so the pieces of paper hadn't blown off. There must have been about 50 pieces of paper, all with the same phrase on,
What?
bringing you the laugh. I didn't really think much of it and took a photo of it as a joke. I kept walking, and 5 minutes later I came across another pile, all with the same phrase, bringing you the laugh. I took another picture and decided I would report it to the non-emergency number when I got home. When I looked up from taking the picture, I saw a bright flash of colour in the tree line. I called out, "Hello? Who's there?" Nothing. I called out again, "Hello?" Again, nothing. I was thinking I was seeing things, but when I moved on I was cautious. Then, all of a sudden, a clown jumped out from behind the tree. He had a latex mask that covered his head and was wearing bright yellow and purple and red jumpsuit covered in blue polka dots. His mouth was revealed on the mask, and he was grinning at me. To be honest, I was expected him to have crooked yellow teeth, but I was surprised when he flashed me perfectly white, bright white ones. I was a bit taken aback and stuttered, "Who are you?" He giggled and said in a sing-song voice, "I'm Honky the Clown. I'm your best friend." He kept asking me questions about where I lived, what my name was, and if I locked my doors at night. I was kind of annoyed now and said firmly, "This isn't funny, leave me alone." And he stopped grinning. "Not funny?" he said in an upset voice. "Not funny?" He kept repeating those two words. But he got more angry every time he said it. After the 5th repetition of these words, he was practically spitting with fuming anger. He then took a kitchen knife out of his back pocket and he lunged at me. I dodged out of the way, but not fast enough. I didn't see him cut me, but I looked at my arm and I saw a long, thin line appear on my skin, oozing blood. I let out a yelp, took one last look at him and sprinted away. I didn't know where I was going, I just wanted to get away. Nothing happened after that. I ran out of the woods, got back home and called the police instantly. I had completely forgotten about my arm, and it was covered in blood by the time the police got to my house, and they sent for an ambulance. I took them to the place where the clown was, but he had gone, and so was all the paper. I hadn't seen him since. Now a week later, I feel safe to write this here. The police investigated for a few days, asked a few questions, but were gone by Wednesday. I still look over my shoulder as if the clown will be there watching me, holding a knife. So, I think this would probably have been during the time. When was this? Oh, this was 15 hours ago. I reckon this would have been during the time of all of those.
Okay, it could be.
Clown things.
The thing is, majority of those. Maybe we should do an episode on it because it's very bizarre. But I think majority of the clown cases were just like a big, like just a prank, like harmless thing. But then it like seemed to spiral, and then like Okay, like, I don't know if it was like kind of a purge effect. I think there were actual incidents and things.
Yeah,
I don't
feel like
remember
we should
too
look it up,
much.
but
Yeah.
I think there might
Maybe
have been a few
next
cases where
episode
maybe
we
someone
do
got hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing all of those videos.
Yeah. It
Of, like, the
it
clowns
feels
running
like
out of
forever
cornfields.
ago. Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? I think the pandemic has really sort of
made time really
messed-
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any process of time anymore. After the pandemic. It's really weird.
Those 3 years are just like, they've just sort of messed up the entire way I see like how long I've been alive.
Yeah.
So I just think 2019 and now to here, I'm like, what the fuck? Where did all that
Exactly.
bit in the middle go?
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
Right, do you want to do one more of your one?
Yeah. I think this is
Yeah.
an actual ghost one. So I've got 2 more. Was it this one? I'll do this one because this is on True Scary Stories as well.
Yeah.
It seems like I hadn't found this subreddit before. You found this one.
Yeah.
So this is by Bappo the Mighty. 2 years ago, we got lost in a
Shout out,
forest.
Bappo.
Hey, let's go Bappo. We got lost in a forest and it was one of the strangest experiences of my life. Okay. The following is a story that took place a few years back now. However, it still baffles me completely and I'd like to share it here. I'm a teenager and I've been scouting Boy Scouts my entire life. And I really enjoy exploring with my friends and being trusted more as I'm older now. A few years ago, 2 girls named Amy and Harriet were asked to head into the woods surrounding our campsite and find a long stick suitable for carving into a point. Bear in mind I was a lot younger back then. Harriet was older and Amy was the only 1 year older than myself. We had been walking in deliberately about the same direction as not to get lost, memorising the surroundings as we went, in order to find our way back easily. About 15 minutes in, we couldn't find anything to take back, so we turned around and returned to the campsite. That was the initial panic set in. The trees had almost unnaturally knitted themselves together in such a way that seemed like our path was non-existent in the first place, like it had just vanished. We looked around 360 degrees and everything looked exactly the same. Trees we could have sworn were different from one another appeared as copies of the same tree. We kept walking in what we thought was the correct direction, while shouting for help. Eventually came to a concrete path, almost like a road but very thin, separating the forest, splitting it into 2. We didn't follow the road as it went in the wrong direction to our campsite. On the other side of the path was more like a forest, however nearby there was an abandoned shack, likely used for storage or whatever else. We had no idea what anything like this was out in these woods, so we just kept walking. We eventually frantically asked for the direction of our campsite. As by now, according to our watches and Harriet's phone, we'd been walking for an hour and a half. She said she'd never seen us before. She said there's another campsite in that direction. We followed her advice and eventually came back to our own campsite. We frantically apologised for being so long that we couldn't find anything. The leader, Ian, could see all 3 of us were shaking up, and he stated confused that we'd only been gone about 25 minutes, and that our free time was still going on. To this day it baffles the 3 of us, as our free time was 40 minutes long, and our watches and phones had said we'd been gone for hours. The forest we felt lost in was crushing and claustrophobic, like we entered an area that the concept of time didn't apply to. I believe in the paranormal, however this was so unlike anything I'd ever heard or experienced before. I literally was like we'd been in a vortex or something, and the hours of the forest were only minutes on the rest of the world. The feeling was very strange, and it stuck with me for the rest of the camp. Thanks for reading the story, it's a weird one, but it's true. If you would like to hear more stories from my weird life so far, then feel free to upvote and comment. So, it's giving Blair Witch. It's giving Blair Witch. I enjoy it.
It's
those,
like those time...
I love those.
What they like, not time loops, the ones where people go for a walk and then they like they say they end up in like the 40s.
Or like the back rooms or something.
Yeah.
And time has been like misplaced and things. I remember reading a story similar like that to, it was someone that went into a shopping mall and there was like nobody around and they'd been gone for hours, and then they came out and they met someone and they were like, oh, you were gone for like 10 minutes? Like, that shit scares me. That's really scary.
Me too. Like, I read one about this, it was either a man or a woman who was with their partner who was looking at clothes. So the other person went out for a walk down the street.
Yeah.
And then halfway down the street, they saw like cars from like the 40s and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
And
crazy.
then like turned around and walked back and then walked back in to their normal time. And I thought, God, if that ever happened to me, I think I'd stay. So depending on what the time you go to, I was like, oh, I might just stay here.
You just go back to a time where you didn't consider, like, I had no rights or anything. I don't think I would stick around there.
Would it mess up time if you stayed in the past where you didn't belong because you were before there?
But are you in a pocket of time? Is it like
I
an
think it might
actual? Yeah, like is it an actual
it's not like you
thing?
can carry on walking and then you end up carrying further
Yeah.
and further in. I think it's just you end up in a pocket of time.
It's
I'd
really
love
cool.
that. I
Like-
would just love the world to be that magical.
It's cool.
Why does everything
Yeah.
gotta be so normal?
I know. I wish the world was more interesting. I really
Yeah.
do. But like, have you ever walked? Like, I experienced this like as a teenager, and the first time I had it, I thought it was really weird, and obviously it's pretty normal. But when you walk into rain, like, because we were driving. And like it was a perfectly clear sunny day, and then we like drove, and then all of a sudden we were in a rain cloud.
Yeah.
And then we were out, and I remember just like trying to, like that. I was just like, that is so weird, like just to think about. But obviously it's a normal thing.
Like, yeah, if you look across.
But it was
like
so small.
If you look across like an open field, sometimes when there's rain happening, when you can literally see pockets of rain.
Yeah. I love
cooling
it.
down and then nothing and then rain like that. Absolutely fantastic.
It's so strange.
Because yeah, I've done the same thing, just driven through a cloud that's burst, and you go, oh, I'm back out in the sun again.
Yeah, because
It's
like
mad.
it's really weird how like some of those I mean I don't really know much about weather, but it's like those clouds are like heavier with more like rain in it, but the others
Yeah,
around it are fine.
Let's do a whole episode on
I don't know shit.
rain and weather.
Yeah. That's the real spooky shit. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for about half an hour now already, just about. So I think
do one more, or you want to finish?
You can do one more if you want. It's up to you.
This one's
Do you want
really
to do
long.
another reading?
Really long, that
Zero.
one.
Well, let's cut the welcome back episode down to a comfortable 30 minutes.
This
Unless you
one, this one is quite
Okay,
short.
You do you.
Submitted by deleted. So
Oh,
it's always
wonderful.
good. Yeah. This is on Our Creepy Encounters, and it's just called She Was Dead and I Didn't Know It.
Oh,
So
okay.
already a good start. I posted this earlier this year, but I deleted the account while I figured some things out in my life. Now I'm back on Reddit, and I wanted to tell this experience again. So they deleted their account since then again as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just gonna keep
they'll
doing
they'll
it.
come back and then tell a story again.
Yeah.
Okay. This happened back in 2015. At the time I was 21. Every morning I would wake up early to go for a run. I developed a route that was a giant loop. One side of this loop was the main street out of the small Utah town that I was living in at the time. My twin brother would go running at the same time I did, but he would run the loop in the opposite direction that I did. One morning I was running down the main street and passing an apartment building. In front of the building was a cluster of trees. My view of the tree cluster and the building was obscured by a tall hedge. I couldn't really see them until I was right in front of the building and past the tall hedge. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a woman standing among the trees, staring at me. A chill runs up my back as I keep my eyes forward, and I don't want to be rude and look back at her. It feels as if she follows me as I run past. I keep on running, and this creepy encounter slips from my mind. I pass my twin about 2 miles later and finish my run. I get home and my twin isn't back yet, which I find strange because he's normally beats me back since he's in better shape than I was at that time. He shows up an hour later and tells me what happens to him. Since the direction he was running does not have a giant hedge to obscure his view, he sees the woman among the trees. She wasn't standing like I had perceived. She's hanging by her neck.
Oh.
As my twin gets closer to the trees and realises what he has seen, a man comes running out of one of the apartments wailing. He picks her up and sets her on the ground and lets out wails of mourning, and my twin calls the police and stays to give a report. Although I didn't realise what I had just seen at the corner of my eye of that morning until the twin had told me. I think back on that and a chill runs up my back. And I remember the stare I saw out of the corner of my eye from a woman who was not alive. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I keep having thoughts when I go out on my runs. I'm like, am I going to stumble across like a body?
It's so common, isn't it? It's very weird. And that's always the go-to in films as well. It's like, oh, runner finds dead body.
Yeah, runner finds corpse.
But wait, did he see... Wait, it's not quite clear what happened, but did he see her when she was alive?
Hanging. Well, I think he just ran past her while she was hanging and nobody else had seen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he thought she was standing there.
Yeah.
Actually, she was hanging there. Hanging around.
Jesus Christ.
God, wouldn't like that.
Have you ever seen a dead body?
No.
Not including like open casket or whatever?
No, I never had an open casket, and
good, they're a bit weird, aren't they?
Yeah, never. When my gran died as well, I was too scared to go into the
Yeah, I don't think I could.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to see one. I guess I will at some point in my life.
Because like I've our friend, I won't say her name, but she's a police officer and she has told me so many horror stories, and she sees them pretty regularly because she has to go like, oh, my elderly neighbour hasn't, you know, like come out to get their post in the morning and shit, and then like she'll have to like peel back bed sheets and find and like someone that's died in their sleep and stuff like that all the time. It's really weird that some people like that's normalized too. I
know. There are two stories as well. One of them's from a guy I used to work with, whose neighbour they hadn't heard from in a while. It's such a grim story. They hadn't heard from in a while, so he went round and sort of had to get in somehow to double check, and he found her dead, and her cats had sort of half eaten.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Skull. Yeah, and I was like, oh, and he had to go to like therapy after it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and there was another one, but it's completely escaped my memory, so that won't happen.
Brilliant.
Well, my fiance used to work in the police, and
yeah.
She would take calls from people that were.
Man, we need to get her on because she would say, I'm sure she's heard some horrifying shit.
Yeah, she's got some horrible stories that she tells me all the time.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was the welcome back episode.
Yeah, little short one to.
You look into the camera because it makes it look like you're looking at me.
Good. I need to do it more. I've been doing it a bit more like on my streams and stuff when I'm talking to people. So yeah, I think
I can't do it.
It's a weird like thing to get used to, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do your ending bits?
I can. So I also this will go up on Skeletalk on my horror reaction channel. What I'm doing, Jordan's copying me. What I'm doing is that channel is now going to be mainly like horror reactions, the podcasts, creepypasta readings, journal stuff like that. I have moved all of my gaming content onto a separate channel now, which is Skele_gaming.
Hey, she's done it.
Because like I was just getting fucked over by the algorithm so hard. Like my views were so weird, like all over the place. And it's definitely brought more. It's like a better to have like that community in one area now is what I feel like.
Yeah.
So go follow that. I haven't done much on my gaming channel at the minute. It's just Twitch full uploads at the minute, but I'm hoping to do like some good edits again, because I did do a few on this channel that were lots of fun, but it will, because I'm focusing on my reacts now, and I'll hopefully focus more on the podcast again. All of my focus will go into those things, and gaming content will just be my Twitch streams for now, which is Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. I had to move my Thursday streams to Wednesday now because I got a little part-time job on Mondays and Fridays. So at the minute it's like Mondays are cozy Elder Scrolls online game on Twitch, playing that with some friends. We have a guild that you can join now, which is lots of fun.
Yeah, I've actually just reinstalled.
Yeah, you gotta play.
Elder Scrolls Online,
you gotta play.
I'll end up joining the guild.
Yes, please do.
if you're a fan of me.
It'll be fun. Yeah, because we play with a few people on Mondays, whoever's available to jump in and hang out. We've mainly been doing like the scrying stuff. I don't know if you've done that. It's a lot of fun. You're basically like an archaeologist, which little fact about Skele, little bit of Skele lore. The first thing I wanted to be when I was a kid was an archaeologist because of Indiana Jones. Yeah, that was the first thing I ever wanted to be because I was obsessed. I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it.
Yeah.
When I was little, Indiana Jones was like my hero, my most favourite thing ever. I had all of the box set of young Indiana Jones as well on VHS. I loved Indiana Jones so much. But yeah, I wanted to be an archaeologist.
If you want to do some Skele fan art, draw her
as an archaeologist.
Indiana Jones.
Oh my god, please, that would be so funny. Oh, I'd love that. To be fair, when I was in Australia, I dressed like an archaeologist a bit.
Have you been to Australia?
Yeah. Did you know, guys, I went to Australia?
Oh, Christ. Right.
But yeah, no, anyway, so Tuesdays, Tuesdays or Wednesdays have been like various horror games, but lately, like, my mental health has not been all that, so I've been like looking into playing more cozy games. But I'll probably keep Tuesdays, because Tuesdays are like on Twitch, the like I play with everyone kind of thing, so I'll probably keep those to playing either Demonologist, Phasmophobia, or Outlast Trials, and then I'm looking for a cozy game to play on Wednesdays. So yeah, 9 PM UK time. But yeah.
Okie doke. Well, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Always appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll try and keep this one regular again.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
We'll see if we can get back into it.
Yeah. So it'll be good.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Do you want to do your, I don't know, your e-girl intro?
I have not woken up, but I'll give it a go. I should have taken my meds, honestly.
It's an absolute shambles this morning.
What do we usually say? It's been so long.
The date is the 8th of July, 2023.
Fuck me, is it? It's July already.
Yeah, I don't think we ever said the date before. We usually say, hello... what did we call it? What did we call this podcast?
Skeletalk's Paranormal Podcast.
Yeah, Skeletalk's Paranormal. Hello, welcome to the Skeletalk's Paranormal Podcast with Skele and Jordan. Will that be alright? Will that do? Let's do it again.
I've got a huge coffee, so hopefully
look at the size of that.
By the end of this, I'll actually feel like I'm alive.
Yeah.
Which would be phenomenal.